Hey, that was the bell, and you know the bell on Tuesday is office hours, a 20-minute problem-solving show, ready to rock and roll with Brittany Fox. That's why we play that song. Josh Tobat, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA, welcoming all this talent. Look at all this talent right here, all over from the United States, ready to learn. Because they're going to bring their talents, they're going to bring their experiences, and that's what we're all about in public education. We're all about going stronger together, uniting, learning from each other so that we become better version of ourselves and our kids benefit from that. What do you think about that, Dean?
I'll tell you what, happy Tuesday night, everybody, and welcome, guys, to the panel. Some faces we've seen before, but we also have some new faces here tonight. It's always great when we have an opportunity to reach out across the country to really network and solve problems that are real life for all of us in administration and in education. My name is Dean Packard. I am the proud principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts, and one of the co-founders of Unlock the Middle. And we just keep getting a little bit better, and we just keep having a lot of fun with coming together with people. Hey, let's go right around the table here. Spike, welcome back. A little bit about yourself. Where you from? What you do?
Yeah, it's been a while seeing you guys. I miss it. Used to be a middle school principal, so that was part of it. But I'm proud principal of Bacon Elementary School in Millville, New Jersey, and been in education about 23 years in various capacities. And I'm just excited to be here tonight.
Well, once a middle school principal, always a middle school principal. You can do anything from there. You're right in the middle. Welcome back, Spike. Great to see you. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. This is my first time here, so I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. And I'm a proud school principal in Canutillo ISD in El Paso, Texas. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. Josh is stacking the deck against us again. All the Texans coming in. Good stuff. Dr. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm Alexandria Rios Taylor, proud high school principal in Mundelein, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and grateful to be here. I love the energy and I love the concept. So again, thank you for the invite as well.
Well, thank you for joining us. A high school principal's job is never done either. So I get it. Been there.
I'm still in the office right now.
And I can see that. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, hold it over to you. Go.
Okay, here we go. All right, tell the audience this, Jessica. Tell the audience the very first time you got that handwritten note from a kid that broke your heart, made you smile, the very first one you remember. What did it say?
The very first time. Okay, so my first job was as a kinder teacher. So that was probably one of the best experiences ever. But as a principal, I think just a note that I got from one of my students saying that they were hungry. And I think that just made me so sensitive and so just sad that someone, such a young age at that time when I started, as a principal. And so I remember I was just crushed, but really was a great opportunity to just humble myself and really have a conversation with that child and then the parents. And I was able to build a very positive relationship with them. So it was sad, but it turned into a very positive and just a very rewarding experience. And I was able to change someone's day.
Thank you for sharing. Dean, the first letter you remember ever getting. I know it goes back a couple of decades.
Easy there, big fella. Easy. Listen, although I've had 21 years in administration, I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of notes left behind, but the one that resonates most with me, and I'm just thinking back right now, is I remember there was a child who was really an environmental issue and struggling at home and struggling with family stuff. And he left a note afterwards, and it basically just said, "Thank you for listening to me. The importance of not casting judgment and really accepting me for who I am." I kept that note. I have a whole box that I keep those notes in. And on those cloudy days, I go back and I read them, and it reminds me of why I do what I do. I don't do it for the notes. I do it because I can make those connections. So I appreciate that, Josh. I didn't see that one coming. I like Snickers more than Milky Way, though, just to say.
We already covered that, sir.
I get it.
The past. Doc Alex, talk to us.
Yes, I can say I remember it was my first year teaching, and I received this note from a student who was a struggling learner, and I didn't know that it was a difficult time for the student personally. I later discovered that just through conversations and tutoring sessions, they reveal a little bit more, but just really knowing that my presence and consistency in their life just as a trusted adult was meaningful and was able to break through some barriers provided me a lot of hope. As a young teacher, I was just entering the field and the profession, and I saw so much opportunity to make a difference in our young, youth lives. So that was a moment. And then later on, I received this wonderful note from the mom, just giving me more insight in terms of how the student kind of opened up at home and came forward and was more confident in their ability to learn and excited. So it just changed my perspective, and I hold on to that dearly every year as challenges arise. It keeps me focused, and that's really what it's all about, is what are we doing, to make an impact on our students' lives.
Thank you. Beautiful. Spike.
Okay, sort of like Dean, I feel like I've been at this a long time. So very grateful to have many, over the years. But I would say there was one this year, very early on in my new position, and I got a note from a second grader that just thanking me for being the greatest principal and all the things that I was doing for the school, and it was just really very touching. I also have seen that you don't get as many as you used to as well, right? So to get a handwritten note nowadays is, really something special.
Sure is.
Awesome. When I was a student teacher back in the Stone Age, back when there was Abacus and Fred Flintstone, that old, I was a student teacher, and the kid would never stand for the pledge, religious reasons, and all good. And then I was on him as a student teacher. And at the end, when I left to become an active teacher at Valley View Middle School, he said, "Hey, most of the time I thought you were a nerd. I didn't like you, but you're all right." That was the best. I have never forgotten that one right there. All right, here we go. Dean, Jeopardy or Price is Right?
I'm an Alex Trebek fan through and through. Jeopardy.
Spike,
Price is Right.
Jess,
Price is Right.
I don't know. Doc is tied up. The answer is Alex Trebek. That's the answer, Jeopardy. Let's
I
get
knew the
it
answer
together,
ahead of
guys.
time. Sorry.
Here we go. Last question before we get into our scenario. Last question. Jessica.
I need
Shania
time.
Twain,
You're picking on Jessica tonight.
I
love
Shania
it.
Twain or Taylor Swift?
Who?
Shania Twain or Taylor Swift?
Oh, Shania Twain. I'm a
Dean
fan.
Packard.
I'm a Taylor Swift fan.
Spike.
I guess Taylor Swift.
Doc, are you there? She's still tied up. The answer is Shania Twain. That's the answer right there, exactly.
I feel like a woman tonight, right, Josh? Come on.
Hey,
Let me
bro.
break it out. Come
You
on,
know
let's
what?
go.
It's the 21st century. All is good in life. Here we go. You have the scenario right in front of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I will read it out to our audience. And it's, as always, Dean, real life scenarios that we face in public education. Your state legislature has been proposing a change in a law that is dividing your community. Your students keep doing airdrops in opposition to the change. While you're at dismissal, 5 of those of your trusted students come out to let you know that some students will be walking out after first period tomorrow to protest the change in law. After morning announcements, students and teachers get the airdrop of a walkout. Your school is located next to a major road and it has heavy construction. Spike, what do you do?
Wow. Well, speaking on experience, I actually had this happen to me a few years ago when I was at the middle school. And out of about 1,000 kids, I think about 150 walked out. And guess what we did? We let them walk out. We let them say what they had to say. The news was there. And you just gotta, you gotta respect student voice and make sure things are safe. And we did that. And we were next to a major road. And you know what? The kids had a good experience with it. And then after a little bit, we ushered them back into class. Made it a learning experience.
Alex, did you get the scenario on the phone?
I did. We had a similar situation, and as I imagine all of us have in the last few years. And so we're in the same boat. We respect student agency, and we support their decision making. We do give that time, and then we do allow them, the opportunity to return to class and transition back into the learning environment as normal. Luckily, I'm also working with high schoolers, so it's a bit different in terms of precaution and safety measures.
Myrna, welcome. Did you get the scenario on the phone?
Yes, I think I got the tail end of it. My experience has been with the early childhood, but I think in that scenario, I think I would have reached out as well to local agencies, police officers, security officers, just to also make sure that the perimeters are safe as much as possible, having some adult presence. I really value what you all are saying about student agency on that part, letting them go through that course, but also trying to control the perimeter, the safety part of it as well. So reaching out to those agencies to make them aware, to bring them in.
Jess.
If I may add, I think that Spike just mentioned something really important, which is allowing students to have the student voice to be able to validate what they have to do and what they have to say. But I agree. I think just making sure that they do it in a very safe manner, because we all have the right to express ourselves and to be able to voice what we're feeling and how we're feeling and everything that goes around our minds, right? But it is important to do it in a very safe manner and just being able to reach out to those agencies that can support us to make sure that it's a safe environment.
Dean Packard.
You know, I've never had it happen in my 21 years, and knock on wood, but I would say this: we're in a business of meeting people where they're at. And if the kids really felt the need and it was that important for them to be able to stage a walkout or have a voice on something, absolutely, you'd be able to meet them there and just set it up so it would be a very safe surroundings for them. But more importantly, I think debriefing about it afterwards and having the opportunity to talk about why they felt the way they felt, and more importantly, how to politically correctly go about exercising your rights in a democracy. It's a great civics lesson. It really is. And it's a great opportunity to capture an audience. Who would ever thought we'd be dealing with airdropping of items? You know, you think about that, and I dealt with that all day today with something, and I shake my head, and I remember I didn't even have a cell phone when I first started. I had a Smith Corona typewriter going to college, so that'll date me way back. But at the end of the day, this is where we are today, and this is where we have to do, and we have to meet kids where they're at and allow them to be able to express themselves.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned, like, I never thought I'd be doing this in my career. I had that example like pop into my head at the beginning of the school year when we're giving tips to freshmen on what to do and what not to do. And we had to include in the presentation that they cannot get Uber deliveries to the school and just leave the packages. I'm like, I cannot believe as an administrator, this is a part of my messaging.
Mm-hmm. We call that evolution.
Yeah.
Alex, are you telling me that Sergio Giovanni didn't teach you that in his textbook about Uber Foods? Sergio Giovanni taught us all that, right?
I predicted this.
All right, guys. And the only thing that I would add to anybody out there is that you know that more often than not, obviously we're gearing this, it does happen few in the middle school, but at the high school, is that you know who the leaders of those protests are, for lack of a better term. You bring them into your office and you talk to them instead of them walking out because of the construction, because of the big road, and you say, you know what? The cafeteria is yours. Hey, you know what? The Plaza Theater is yours. Go in there. If you want to walk around inside of the building, you go in there, and it's easier for you to control the whole environment in regards to the safety aspect. Because if you do let them go out there and advocate for what their point is, you don't want to run the risk as an administrator that a leg is something's twisted, something's broken, that they start horse playing around during that area, and that's kind of a little bit hard to defend. But you talk to those leaders and you say, look, let's do this. We'll support you, a give and take kind of situation, but please, let's stay within. And they will control the kids that just want to walk out for being knuckleheads. They will control the ones that will start just yelling stuff and doing ruckus. So it's very important that we bring them, we have that ongoing conversation. I think, as you said, Spike, that you have that ongoing conversation with your teams. Is there anything specific in your district, Spike, that your leadership has told you about something like this happening?
Yeah, so prior to it, we knew that it was going to happen. It was after actually one of the school shootings, a few years back. So and we had, we had kids that went out. There were rabble rousers. The press was there. Kids talked to the press, all that kind of stuff. But our district and our superintendent at the time really wanted to honor the kids' voices, and felt that the more that we tried to control it, the worse it would be. So again, giving the students a voice, making it a learning experience. And really, it didn't last that long. Did it meet with some parents afterwards too? Because it became very political on both sides, and it was a great learning experience for me, for sure.
Well, you provide value and you create trust. Think about it. Things that we want to happen in our schools. It's not about compliance 100% of the time. It's about how we can coexist and grow together. And that's an opportunity. I'm going to go back to say that civics opportunity, that civics lesson, huge, huge.
Alex, is there something in Illinois that you've been told by your central office in case something like this happens?
In terms of guidance?
Yes. If you hear that there's going to be walkouts.
Yeah, we have an internal process that we follow when we have either protests or walkouts or even community or media inquiries.
And that's discussed during your leadership meetings there as principals?
Correct. We do a leadership meeting and then the district office meeting and make sure we're all in alignment.
What about in Tornillo?
I'm sorry?
As far as our leadership meetings, there hasn't been specifically that addressed. One of the things that I'm thinking about is right now there's some changes in our community, and change is always hard for a community. And so I'm just today, I was getting word, parents are going to sign a petition or they're starting this. And so I was thinking about, I met with my higher ups and said, hey, this is the way I'm wanting to address this. In a small community, word gets around fast, and it's all about how we're going to handle it in a way that's respectful, honoring the sentiment, the emotions. I think so. This is a perfect opportunity as well. Rather than students, the parents, how do we deal with that as well?
Don't ever forget the fact that we're a public school. Think about it for a second. Being a public school, publicly funded, they have rights. They have the ability to do certain things. We have a handbook that will guide us to ensure this safety and that we follow the rules that we have to follow. But, we got to be open to everything and anything.
Jessica, is there anything in Canutillo that your superintendent has told you about?
No, we don't have like a specific guidance to follow, but most definitely, just like Mirna just said, they're very open and very willing to meet with us if there's an issue or something is coming up. We can pick up the phone and have a meeting and have a district meeting and address that. So I think that's very important. But something that I was going to mention is it's also important to have a very strong parent relationships, right? So like for me at the elementary level, and I know Mirna, you mentioned you were in early childhood, we have to remember that parents are all parents, but specifically the little ones, they want to keep them home. They don't want them to go to school. And so having very organic conversations, very raw conversations with parents is important, because I remember when the last shooting happened, I had many messages come through my phone and say, I'm not going to send my child to school because I feel that, it's not safe. And so I had a meeting with parents that same day that, they were sending me the messages, and I felt like they all felt comfortable with what I was sharing with them, the procedures that we had, everything that we were, that was in place. And so I communicated and validated their concerns. And I think a lot of the times our parents, that's what they want. They want us to validate their concerns and also let them know what are we doing to ensure that their kids are safe. So I think parent communication is vital, because for me, that has been just very important to be able to decrease those concerns.
Awesome. Dean, close it out.
Listen, there's a lot here, man. And I'll tell you what, you never know what's going to come our way as we sit in the leadership chair. And I kind of like the fact that you guys have great upper administration teams that you can bounce ideas off of. That's a strong central core of leadership, if that's the case you have in your school district. And again, no one individual principal can do this all by themselves. I find myself often reaching out to to Chris or to Josh on something, or to somebody else who sits in the chair before I make a decision, because we all have to make those snap decisions. And again, if we don't stop and pump the brakes and think about the value in what we do, and think about that, if these are my kids, if they were my own kids, how would I want it handled? then we're doing something wrong. So again, what a great concept. What a great question. What a great opportunity, Josh.
And that's our story, and we're going to stick to it. But don't forget, this Sunday, Dean, this Sunday, the flagship show, Go Crickets. Joe Sanfilippo joining the flagship this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us. Thank you, leaders. Hold on tight, because that closes the office hours for this Tuesday. Thank you.
Everybody out there, listen, have a great week. Thank you guys for being on the show tonight. It's always a pleasure to connect across the country. And remember, we do everything we can for the best interest of all of our kids. Folks, stay on. We're going to end it right here. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great week.